Last year was our very first year homeschooling ever, and I'll admit, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what the kids knew. I didn't know what levels they were on. It was definitely a learning curve. This year, I have a much better idea of what I want school to look like, what I want the kids to learn, what they need to learn, and what levels they're on. So for example, last year I noticed while we were doing school that the kids knew very little about basic grammar. So this year I have added Fix-It Grammar. So I picked Fix-It Grammar just to help the kids out because it's easy, very short lessons. It looks like a lot of fun. Essentially, they have taken a short story, a book like Robin Hood, and they have made grammatical errors in every sentence, and the kids get to go through and find them. There's also a little bit of vocabulary involved. So one of the most important things that I learned last year doing homeschooling was that the material doesn't have to be hard for the kids to learn. So I also noticed while we were doing school last year that the kids had very little knowledge about writing paragraphs and essays. So I've added Essentials in Writing for the older kids this year. Essentials in Writing is a really affordable online program, and they're going to learn about all the different types of paragraphs, how to write them. They'll learn how to write business letters, which I thought was pretty cool. And they'll also learn how to write essays and a research paper at the end of the year. So last year we really enjoyed doing history, science, and Bible all together, and so it was important to me to continue that this year. Last year we did God's Design for Life science. We actually only did about 2/3 of that curriculum, so we're gonna finish that up with God's Design for Animals. Should be really fun this year. And then we've changed up our history a little bit. I really loved the Mystery of History book that we did last year, but this year we're going to be doing the world's story. I wanted to be able to get through world history so that we could get to American history a little bit sooner. One of the great things about homeschooling is that I can take the curriculum that's given to me that's meant to be a whole year, and I can break it up if I want to. So God's Design for Life is a really great example of that. Each of their science books has 3 units in them, and we just did 1 unit a semester. So we will be finishing last year's book, and then we will start a new book, and we'll be able to carry that over into the next year, which kind of saves us a little bit of money, and it takes a little bit of the pressure off. These books are actually listed at elementary levels, but I noticed last year that our older kids really enjoyed them. Some of it was even really challenging for them, so we're gonna kind of stick with that. Again, it doesn't have to be hard for them to learn. So that actually brings me to a really important note. You will notice that homeschool curriculum levels are very different than public school grades. So a lot of times homeschool levels will be a bit above public school grades. So you really need to know what your kids know in order to properly place them. A lot of your homeschool curriculum publishers have available on their websites free placement tests that will help you to know what level to put your kids in. So reading is so important in learning, and I have a couple of kiddos who will only read when they're forced to. So last year, towards the end of the year, we picked up a classic novel and we read it all together. We read Swiss Family Robinson. This year, we're going to read together The Secret Garden, and then in the second semester, we'll probably split up, and the older kids will do something like The Hiding Place, and the little kids will do something kind of like The Jungle Book. Teachers Pay Teachers is a website where you can find novel studies for many classic novels. These novel studies include worksheets, tests sometimes, vocabulary, basically everything you need to go through a classic novel chapter by chapter. They're only $6 to $12 for a novel study, and you're supporting a teacher when you purchase from them. This year for language arts, the younger two are going to be doing The Good and the Beautiful, which is an affordable curriculum, partially literature based. It's absolutely gorgeous. And Ashton's actually going to get to learn the 50 states and their capitals this year. This year for Bible, we're actually going to split into 2 groups and do the answers curriculum. That's another one of those curriculums that we're going to be able to take 2 years to do 1 book, so I won't have to buy that again next year. It was really important to me that the kids understand why we believe what we believe and that science actually backs up the Bible. That being said, we always test everything against the Bible. It's super important to us that the kids understand that these books are written by humans and humans make mistakes, but the Bible is God-breathed and it is 100% accurate and truth. Finally, math. We're using Masterbooks for all of our math this year. They're very thorough, and the older levels have an option for an online instructor. Now with math, it's really important to not push the level. You want the kids to understand the concepts before you move on. So for that reason, this year, AJ's doing algebra, which to be honest, looks a little bit like college algebra to me. Alexis and Alyssa are doing the Principles of Mathematics Middle School Math 1. Alyssa has always been very advanced in math, and I really like having them on the same level. Ashton's doing level 4 math. She's gonna work a little bit on that multiplication and solidify it before moving on, and Bentley's in level 3. Quick note about computers. Last year it was really important to me that they detoxed from computers, so we really didn't use them a lot other than a quick grammar lesson on Khan Academy. The computers weren't used much. This year we're going to be learning how to use computers as tools for learning, for research, for creativity, and how to use them safely. This is what we're using this year for homeschool. I'm not gonna lie, I've been working on this for a long time and I am so excited to get started. If you have any questions about these resources, they're all gonna be listed in the description below. We also have a homeschool resources section on our website, so be sure to check that out. I'll put the link to that in the description below, and our website is right here. What are you using for homeschool curriculum this year? I'm super curious. There's a lot of good stuff out there. Thank you so much for watching, and we can't wait to see you again next week. Unboxing The Good and the Beautiful. This is our brand new language arts curriculum for Ashton and Bentley.
I'm gonna have so much fun.
I know, you've got a lot to read. This is awesome. Captured words. And then, this was kind of a little bonus.
What is it?
Watercolor painting.
I get a paint?
Watercolor around the world. So, we'll have to get you some watercolors.